Good morning, everybody. As usual, I'm doing a video now, and it's a second one about me thoughts about stuff. I'd be on my own an awful lot. I keep myself busy though, mind wise, brain wise. I have a a couple of health conditions which prevent me from getting out as much as I'd like to, connecting in with people. But when I do go out, I try to connect in with people. I try to plant a few seeds into people's heads to get them to think. Because I find it quite mind blowing that so many people are just acting mindless, absolutely mindless, walking around mindless. I was outside a shop there the other day, Centra, and I sat outside and had a coffee. Um, and just watched. Well, I didn't have a coffee. I had my water because the coffee machine was broken, actually. So I just sat there and watched all the people going up and past and coming into the shop and walking up the road without any masks and then whipping them out and actually putting them on when they were going into the shop. And the shop wasn't, it didn't have anybody at the door, it didn't have security. They didn't in any way enforce anybody having to wear masks. I'd gone in previously and I'd walked all around and went up then. I think I got some bread or something. I went up and I actually paid for it at the desk, chatted to the guy behind the counter. Really nice, awake guy, sort of like aware of what was going on. He said, we even tried to tell them they don't have to wear a mask. He said, but they just sort of like, it's like they're just, and I said, it's habit. It's actually habit. And it's very, very hard. I feel like I'm going around and I feel like a fucking alien. I really feel like an alien from another planet, knowing what I do through actually, looking deeper than the surface of a puddle and actually finding stuff that makes sense. You can't say that sense doesn't make sense, that common sense actually doesn't make sense. You cannot say this. You cannot. But it's like being witness to an absolute horror story, right? Where people are walking around, actually, that a lot of them have got the jabs because they're not vaccinations, they're operating systems. The whole thing is being done on deceit and actually, sort of misleading people, and relying on the fact that people will be bullied or pressured or coerced or shamed into getting these injections, these jabs that they're calling vaccinations. It's all very heartbreaking. It's all very, very heartbreaking, For want of common sense, for want of a brain, humanity ended up losing so many lives. They chose themselves through ignorance to actually go and mindlessly and blindly actually, allow themselves to be injected. They never even bothered to actually look at what it was that was being injected into them. They just took at face value everything that they were told. So who do we have to blame but themselves? Yeah, there's always going to be corrupt people misleading you. There's always going to be lies, told to you at some stage or other. But it's up to you to discern. It's up to you to actually ensure, your healthiness, by being awake, to what this world really is. You hear people all the time saying, sure, all politicians are corrupted. Yes, they are. But you don't seem to sort of like let that sink into you. You don't seem to realise what you have allowed happen, what you have been party to, what you have gone along with to get along, so you can get that holiday over in, Portugal, or sort of you can go sort of like into a restaurant and eat, because you have a vaccine passport. I mean, this is all absolute fucking bollocks, and sort of like, I'm not one for mincing me words. I actually think there's more fucking idiots on this planet than I ever, ever, ever realised. I mean, they're not, you know, oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's just mind blowing. Anybody else find all this mind blowing? You find you're ending up retreating. You actually look out for actually people who might be on the same wavelength as you. Sort of like you're trying to make eye contact with people to see you know, if they give off the same vibes as you do, as if they're sort of like as aware as you are, because we're all sort of divided, we're all alone, a lot of us, you know, witnessing all of this. I put up a few posts on my Facebook as well today, all about complex trauma, multi-trauma, right? Do you not think that's what's happened to us since all this fucking CV bollocks has happened? Do you know, we're all multi-traumatized. You know, I know I'm multi-traumatized, but that's from stuff way before all this COVID stuff and that, you know, that happened to me in childhood and then happened to me over in England over the last few years. So it sort of gave me a trial by fire, put through the furnaces of hell, of trauma, learned all about trauma, learned all about the nature of the beast that I have to live with, learned all about how to heal myself as well, because I wasn't welcome into the medical model places like hospitals or doctor surgeries or any government agency over in England, right, where I lived, because I spoke the truth on my Facebook, because I spoke the truth to people outside. I was actually put, you know, on a list of people who weren't compliant, the nudge unit, they called it, right, to nudge you into being compliant. And they'll gently nudge you at first, a nice little reminder here and there, and then it increases. You know, the more you actually don't comply, the worse it gets for you, and they start waging psychological warfare on you from every angle. Every government agency, every organisation, every company, everything, you know, you're placed on this list to actually be sort of like nudged to death if you don't actually finally comply. And somehow I actually survived without complying. I paid a huge price for it, you know, but I feel free inside. I feel me. I'm standing in my power. I'm standing in my truth, you know, and I'm a very kind, I'm very caring, I'm very thoughtful human being. And I care enormously for humans. I care enormously for people I don't know. Uh, because I want you all to grow. I want you all to evolve. I want you all to use your brain. I want you all to use your hearts. I want you all to actually reach out to each other and realize that it's only you, you know, who can actually stand up in your own power and your own truth. It's only you who can heal yourself. It's only you that can help yourself grow and evolve, you know. And we're not responsible for all these people. Mindless, mindless, mindless people. Oh, for want of a brain, for want of common sense. So many died, so many were led to their deaths. For want of common sense, for want of a brain. The ignorance is just insane.